immer wieder vertreten. Die Rede ist vom Co-Star Cody Harris. Jahre ist der Gegner von Cody Harris alt. Er ist nicht nur ein dreimaliger BDO-Weltmeister, er ist der aktuelle BDO-Weltmeister, ist seit diesem Jahr bei der PDC unterwegs, inzwischen einer aus den Top 50. Er hat 2 PDC-Titel gewinnen können. Er stand im Halbfinale des World Matchplay. Die Rede ist von Glenn Durrant.
Interesting afternoon so far here in Mannheim at the Markthalle, where I'm not being negative when I say this, but I don't think anybody's really turned up yet. Maybe we're just simmering away, waiting for someone to explode, and it may be this guy right here, semi-finalist at the World Matchplay on debut. What a fabulous performance that was, and what a great week for him. But now it's back to business, and I'm going to ask some questions of Chris Murphy in a moment, but to me, like, maybe Cody Harris's luggage has turned up, because he has a different shirt on than yesterday. But he was very good yesterday, Cody Harris. He was plucky in winning against Ross Smith, who had a second defeat in the first round in the space of 2 weeks. But Cody Harris will be an underdog here against Glenn. Someone who has warmed to PDC life very, very well. Thoughts, Chris?
Well, yeah, Glenn Durrant certainly has warmed to PDC life very, very well, and he must have been waiting to get back on the stage after that wonderful performance at the World Matchplay in July.
This led Cody to throw first, game on.
Where he, of course, beat the 2-time world champ Adrian Lewis, and then went on to knock out the tournament favourite, world #1 and 3-time world champion Michael van Gerwen and
100.
James Wade before losing in the semi-finals. But Durrant, it's taken him a little bit of time. The only place it probably has taken him a little bit of time to impress has been on the European Tour. His best run's been to the quarter-finals. That was at the Dutch Darts Masters.
140.
He did put on a stunning display at this stage in Prague when he beat Daniel Larsson with an average of 110, and it took a superhuman effort from Gerwyn Price to knock him out in the next round.
60.
But it has been a serene passage for the seeded players this afternoon, despite the fact, as Paul Nicholson rightly pointed out, that none of them have been near their best. Wins for Chisnell, Clayton, Wade and Lewis.
66.
This is, of course, Glenn Durrant's first time as a seed in the European Tour, and we have to say well done to him for doing that in his first year on tour. Not many players
60.
have done that.
Well, he's won a couple of titles, that of course helps. He's playing in a 7th European Tour event of the year. That's a good number to have racked up. He will add to that over the next couple of weeks too.
140.
Yeah, he's going to be seeded in Riesa next week. He's done a bit of travelling with darts over the years as Glenn. Interesting to see what he thinks of Riesa.
But if you win early in your PDC career, which Glenn has done, then you're likely to be seeded towards the end of the year because everyone else is losing money on the rolling order of merit and you're not.
Yeah, I'll be fascinated to see where he is by the end of next year's World Championships. So, 2-year free run. I think he's safe to keep his card. It'll be fascinating to see if he can break top 16, maybe even top 10 the first 2 years, which doesn't happen very often, of course. Rob Cross did it.
He looks likely to break the throw in the very first leg of his very first match at the European Darts Match Play. Double 10.
No score.
Busts the score,
Who
which
you
means he
require
will only get a maximum of 2 darts at double when he returns. Should I say if he returns?
Yes. But if you're going to bust it like that and have a slip dart into double 15,
60.
you're better off doing it on something like 58 than something like, you know, maybe 100. Smack in the middle of that 18. And a lovely adjustment to tops on take 2.
Second leg, Glenn, 2.
Now,
So first,
question for you. It is September. We've got to start talking about what certain players have got to do to get into Premier League contention. Now, I love that word, contention, because yesterday we were talking about contenders for contenders. This has already been a contender. To be a regular player in the Premier League with his CV and with his year,
53.
what more does he have to do?
I'll give you a simple answer. I think he's already in contention. I think
In that
Glenn
case,
Durrant
what
would
does he have to do from here?
Have a disastrous end to the season to not be in contention. I'm not saying he'll be in, but I certainly
60.
assume he would be in the discussion. And as we all witness at the match play, he's got everything it takes to be a key protagonist at many of the major events between now and New Year's Day.
44.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people who would like to play Glenn first round of the World Championships. Now, it's still possible that he could break the top 32
96.
by then. He's going to have to go some, but he could do it.
Well, let's not forget he's a man who won the Lakeside World Championship 3 times on the spin. He's actually on
60.
course to win a 4th World Championship in a row.
Absolutely right. And the one thing we take from those 3 wins, more than anything else, is that Glenn Durrant, in a straight start, set format, long format
105.
tournament, is very, very dangerous. So that says to me, if he gets in early and plays well at Ali Pali and settles there,
100.
I don't see any way he can't win that tournament.
100 points left in this leg. Exhibiting the reasons why Paul Nicholson believes that Durrant may soon be a major champion in the PDC.
Oh, clinical stuff right in the middle of the plate in double 10. But I said a couple of months ago, when he pretty much had punched his ticket to Dublin anyway,
60.
you've got to watch out for guys in the northeast of England in double start formats, because they play a lot of double start stuff up there. So he's going to be, I'm not sure how much he plays these days,
60.
but he will have played a lot of it earlier in his career, earlier in his life. So playing double start, I'm sure, will make him very excited, and he could well have a very dangerous game plan for Dublin. I think he could well be in the mix.
Well, many were tipping up Robert Thornton for similar reasons when he did go on to win the World Grand Prix. I think Suljovic has been the man that has been spoken about in recent years. But there you go, the dark horse.
Thing is, you've got to have a game plan, and we're talking about, not now, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was talking to Peter Wright last Sunday night. He said he's already practicing for Dublin. He's spending hours upon hours on tops, and he had a definitive game plan change last week where he kept even 41. Ordinarily, he'd always go 9 double 16. Nowadays, he's going 1 tops because he's practicing it that much.
Well, Cody Harris looking to start to play a part in this match.
140.
Good 140 gets him down to a decent 2-darter.
Yeah, it'd be a good topic, Cody Harris, providing he takes out the 61. He'll be 2-1 down and in this game, but now he's just been put under pressure. Interestingly, he didn't go for the 25. He backs himself at double 18 with one dart.
25.
Oh, and that wire was bent.
Yeah, he did shift the wire. Durrant may look at the 25, may look at the treble 11. Perhaps he would have wanted to go that route if he'd been allowed to take that dart back. An act of tidying up. The life-changing magic of tidying up from Glen Durrant.
I love it when players, I'm not going to use the word whinge, but almost complain when they hit the bullseye over the 25. Here's the thing, that 25 is big enough to just hit the 25. If you've missed the 25 and hit the bull, it's because you didn't hit the 25. You can't just go for the centre of the board and hope that you're going to hit the 25. Well, these guys are good enough to hit either shot.
In that case, you're hoping you miss what you're aiming for, aren't you? Which is a
well, the thing is, you are aiming for the 25. You're going left or right of the ball. You might be going high or low. You've got to pick a portion of that circle, whether it be north, south, east, west. If you're going right for the middle, if you're a good dart player, you're going to hit the middle.
60.
Did you have a spot on the 25 that you would usually aim for?
Bottom left. There's an imaginary 16 in the bottom left of the 25.
So you've seen the inner and outer bull as a very small dartboard.
Pretty much.
Well, Durrant has raced into a 3-leg lead here, and it's looking like, even though we haven't seen the best of Glen so far, that this trend of seeded players easing through is going to continue. None of them have been taken to a last leg decider. The most troubled was Johnny Clayton against Scott Taylor, who missed darts to force
55.
A sudden death leg. But apart from that, 6-2 wins across the board.
Here's one thing we haven't seen this year yet. It's a does a shuffle. And he usually does it after a big finish. And he doesn't even go for the 161.
105.
He's a very industrious dart player, Glen Durrant. He will concentrate on getting the job done rather than getting the crowd on their feet.
That could be the word of the day, that, Murph.
43.
Industrious. That is describing Middlesbrough and Glen Durrant to a T.
Meant with great affection for.
Absolutely.
Double 10 for 4-zip.
Oh, classy stuff. Just doesn't make much in the way of mistakes, does he? 3 gold stars on the sleeve. That signifies brilliance. And we've got to talk about Cody. He's not playing his best today. And that's 96. A Glen Durrant performance, isn't it? That 96 to 98 zone. He lives there.
Yeah, that's where you expect him to be. He has had the odd incredible average. His highest ever is 116.
100.
He's had 110 on the European Tour. But Harris is finding it tough work up there, not just because Glen Durrant is playing at consistent level, but because he's not playing anywhere near his best level.
100.
Well, Cody finds it tough at the minute because obviously he's got family back in New Zealand, got kids over there. He's been back to see them recently. He's had to come back to Europe, and he think he's going to base himself in the Germany part of Europe. I think he really likes it here. But I was talking to him a couple of days ago, and we were talking about the World Championships, and I said, what have you got to do to get there? And he told me that he's going to have to do it through either the Challenge Tour Order of Merit,
100.
or he's going to have to do it through this kind of avenue, because he cannot go back to New Zealand and qualify through the DPNZ way. In order to do that, you have to play a minimum of 4 events in a DPNZ circuit, and he can't do that. So, as the New Zealand #1, he's not allowed to play in the New Zealand qualifier.
Well, he's 9th on the Challenge Tour at the moment. He is the first
100.
New Zealand player to come and play professional darts in the PDC on a permanent basis. And it is a learning curve for him. It is only his second appearance on the European Tour.
135.
Has got through the first round on each occasion, was beaten by Stephen Bunting in Denmark at this stage last time.
Double 16 to get his first leg on the board. Oh, that's very good from Cody Harris. There's someone who's been battered from pillar to post a little bit in this match, but he's come back with a swing of his own. Now, the one thing that worried me a little bit, I think worried is probably a little bit rich.
96.
But if you look at the fact that Does has signed with a new company this year, new darts, after having a very good start to the season,
140.
He's a bit superstitious. He likes his walk-on song. He's not got that anymore. New shirt. He's not wearing red. I thought to myself, maybe he'd have a few months to adjust to new stuff. Here's what I think about what he's using. I think he's going to get better. Because with his previous equipment, he used to have this kink. When he hit the board, he used to
86.
hit the board and the flight would go left. So he'd have an angle in the board. And he worked it so well over the course of the last 5 years. However, this stuff he's using here, it's going in a lot straighter.
We just look at that first start in the treble 20. I know he didn't follow it, but it was a perfect angle of entry, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Opens up the bed, almost making it bigger.
His perfect dart used to be left of centre, so he could kiss it to the right side of the barrel. Now, it's picture perfect. It's straight, and you can get it underneath. So you can see there's still a tiny little kink there, but it's so much straighter than it used to be. And that's a dart that flies very, very quickly. It's got such a small flight.
All of a sudden, there has been a little change, a shift of the balance of play in this match. Harris seemed out of it, but the check out the 105 in the previous leg has got him back into it, and now he's on tops after 12 to break the Durrant throw.
Sometimes you need your opponent to come back at you to wake you up again, and that's exactly what's happening right here. Cody Harris has responded to that 4-0 deficit, and he's halved it.
Well, he really has upped his game. He's been averaging in the 70s for a long period of this match. He's stuck 8 to 10 points on that over the last 2 legs. It's taken him some time to settle, but he might yet make a game of this.
You were talking earlier in the match about when he was eliminated in a previous European Tour event by Gerwyn Price. Well, guess who's waiting? Price or Simon Stevenson, who was sporting a lovely beard last evening. Suited him as well.
140.
So I wonder who's going to get through that one to face Glenn or Cody, because Cody is not out of this yet. He's steadied up his game. He was averaging 75 earlier. He's upped that a little bit towards the 85 mark now. Glenn's steady at 96.
A strange quirk of the calendar that he's played
100.
before the resumption of the Euro Tour. Had played stage darts more recently than Glenn, having appeared in Hamilton on the World Series. Took Barney to a last leg decider. Barney went on to reach the final.
That's why you can't take Cody for granted. You can't rattle him. He is Mr. Relaxed. I said it yesterday, when you watch him walking, there was no tension there, just arms flapping about, takes it all in his strides. It's a typical Kiwi.
Well, to take out the 105 at the point in the match which he did, playing like he had been and being beaten as convincingly as he was very, very impressive, just unfazed.
This is a big shot here for Cody. If he can get this. Oh, just next door.
Glenn Durrant
42.
had a quick look
Then you require 120.
and then started to focus himself before he even approached Lucky, before Harris had even finished his turn. He knows he could land a killer blow here. One underneath there, and then one in double top. Might just stop the comeback.
80. Cody requires 78.
They're always afraid a little bit of just getting it low on the tops. Always give it a little bit more sometimes. What will Cody give it? One shot. And he's within one. What fighting qualities from Cody.
Glenn to throw first. Game on.
A one dart miss for a 5-2 lead, and after reeling off the first 4, Durrant has surrendered the following 3.
That's very Durrant-like from Cody to have 46 darts for 3 legs.
There you see why he's still in the match. 3 out of 4 on the deckouts, and that dart tops in particular is very impressive, considering he had, what, 2/3 bed to aim at?
Correct. Just goes to show how well he's played
140.
in the last 3 legs, because, like I say, his average was down at 75 and he's brought it up by 10 or 11.
Durrant's hardly shifted, has he? He's been between 96 and 98.
100.
Oh, he doesn't. That's his postcode. I don't know what his actual postcode is, but it probably has a 96 in it.
And an M, probably.
What is the Middlesbrough postcode?
Give me a minute,
TS,
Paul.
I think. TS, the T side. I should know that. My sister lives in Hartburn.
44. Glenn, you require 170.
Come on then, Glenn. We want to see the shuffle. Surely this would suffice. Go on, Glenn. Shuffle time.
145.
We'll have to wait for said shuffle. Great performance though in this leg when
47.
Cody Harris is in
Glenn,
the
you require
rear view
25.
mirror of Glenn. He has responded perfectly well. Now just to polish off this leg with a double 8.
17.
That'll frustrate him, but he will be back.
Yes, he will be back. Double 4 turns. Only really 3 trebles can apply pressure. Might go for the dead cat here.
170.
Well, he played it
Require
smarter.
8.
Durrant couldn't take out the 170, but Harris has hit it to tee up tops if he gets the chance. Durrant under duress.
Was not comfortable with that dart in hand. A reset. That's experience. That's experience. Right there. What a shot. 170 from Cody. Put Glenn under so much pressure. But he was up for it. Doesn't matter whether it's 170 or 2 left. They're all important.
Well, hats off to Harris, who's shown some real
81.
fighting qualities, but it does not look like Glenn Durrant will be heading back to TS1 anytime soon. As I weave in confirmation that you were right, Paul. But again, I think what you said at the start of the match has proved to be the case, that we haven't yet seen any of the seeded players really put on a show, but they've all moved through,
100.
assuming does finish a job from here pretty comfortably.
Yeah, you can look at who has one already and Glenn in position. Professional displays against opponents who are maybe putting themselves
54.
under too much pressure. You've got to say about Ryan Meikle, Scott Taylor, Bradley Brooks, Dirk. They're going up against the guys who are under pressure. You guys have already got your ranking
49.
points. You want some more, of course. But these guys don't have any ranking points. Unless they beat you, let them take the pressure on board. You just go and do your stuff. And we saw what stuff Dirk was doing. That was very entertaining.
140.
I think probably before the afternoon session began, most people would have said that Henderson would be the most likely non-seeded player to win based on what we witnessed yesterday. That's not taking anything away from Darrell Gurney, who is the second highest ranked player in the session, the world number 3. We also have the world number 2 to come. Rob Cross against Marvin Fader.
140. Cody, you require 138.
Well, this is to stay alive.
That one, he would like back. That one's missed by quite some way. He's adjusted well. 62, 76. Beautifully done.
Glenn, you require 108.
But it's not in his hands anymore. All in the hands of Glenn, who will get a shot at double 16. Perfectly done for the match.
76. Cody, you require 16.
Hasn't yet managed to slam the door shut in the face of New Zealand's Cody Harris. Having to try and manoeuvre a way around that.
Oh,
He's making it harder and harder and harder for himself. He looks resigned to the fact that he's going to have to throw an incredible dart to stay in this match.
8.
Just left himself
Glenn,
with
you
too much to
require
do.
32.
yeah, that dart really shielded the double 8. Would have taken a wonder dart to take it out. But it is double 16 right in the middle, and Glenn's got it done.
Glenn Durrant moves through to the second round here in Mannheim, and the seeded players continue the charge to the final day of action. Duzza will take on either Gerwyn Price or Simon Stevenson tomorrow. It could be a repeat of his trilogy with Price on the European Tour. He's up in a couple of games' time, but coming next, the world number 3, Daryl Gurney, against yesterday's top performer, John Henderson.
Ist der nächste Spieler im Achtelfinale für Cody Harris. Endet die Reise hier von Mannheim in der zweiten Runde. Einer, der in naher Zukunft vielleicht sogar eine Heimat sich in Deutschland holen möchte, der auf jeden Fall nach Europa kommt, hat die Tourcard. Da kannst du nicht pendeln von Auckland aus. Das sind zu viele Flugstunden. Glenn, congratulations. It looked easy after you were up 4-0, and then it got tricky.
The scenario for me was that I had to win today to be in the European Championship, so I felt a little bit tight in the shoulders. That was a big game for me, and I'm really happy to win on Mac Alkin's birthday.
Okay, so the double one was the shot of the match actually.
I won a lakeside once, I think against Mark McGeaney, where there was a double one that made a huge difference, and tonight that was the same.
Yeah. I read a tweet on Twitter where you said, "I'd love to learn German."
Yeah.
Is that right? Are you learning German? Could we talk in German?
Yeah, my first lesson is Tuesday, the 24th of September. But
are you serious?
Yes, absolutely. I love being in Germany. Wunderbar. Honestly, it's. Ich liebe euch alle.
Glenn Durrant, morgen sehen wir ihn wieder. Thank you very much. Yeah.